The dust would have already settled on the government shutdown threat by the time this video comes out, but what we're going to talk about today is about the crisis and what this crisis revealed, how it revealed the true nature of the Democratic Party. As former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway described it, freckless, reckless, and rudderless. Me, I described it as a snake eating its own tail. I mean, how else would you call it when Democrats' own House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, joined by other key Democrats, urged Senate Democrats to risk a government shutdown by opposing a must-pass spending bill. Now, of course, she made Trump and Elon Musk the bad guys. She said that they have offered the Congress a false choice between a government shutdown or a blank check that makes a devastating assault on the well-being of working families across America. Do you believe this, guys? And that neither is a good option for the American people. But this false choice that some are buying instead of fighting, it's unacceptable. Squad member Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she went straight for Chuck Schumer and called it a tremendous mistake that he caved to the GOP to avoid a government shutdown. But really, these people would rather risk a government shutdown that would ultimately immediately furlough more federal employees than cooperate with Republicans. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just really not that surprising given how, according to Conway, under the Biden administration, there was a broad disapproval of economic policies. She described it as the Democrats' penchant for allocating federal funds to unnecessary programs at the expense of the taxpayer, leading to rising prices and a decline in high quality, high paying jobs. And we've been seeing that for years, guys. And now that they don't have any real power anymore, they're turning on each other at every level. Now, apart from the drama in Congress, Democratic Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear recently took shots at his fellow rumored 2028 presidential candidate and Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom of California. Now, like I said, guys, a snake eating its own tail. That's the Democratic Party right now. Meanwhile, the Trump administration's firing on all cylinders. In fact, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt just told reporters that we've never been closer to peace as the U.S. waits for Russia's answer on a 30-day ceasefire agreement. I mean, they already got Ukraine to accept the deal, so it's just a matter of time now. All the details and more in today's video, guys, so stay right there. And if you appreciate the daily news updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, and definitely subscribe to the channel. Okay, so first, let's talk about how Nancy Pelosi and several key Democrats are actually pushing for a government shutdown. I mean, absolutely ridiculous, right? Now, you would think Nancy Pelosi's smarter than this, but I guess not. Instead of working with Republicans on a crucial stopgap government spending bill, Nancy Pelosi's out here misleading people by saying that the bill presents a false choice. She even commended House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and House Democrats for overwhelmingly voting against the bill. Now, and of course, she didn't miss the chance to make it about identity politics, saying that Democratic senators should listen to the women in Congress. Yeah, her words, guys. Now, in particular, she mentioned appropriation leaders Rosa DeLauro and Patty Murray that gave a different option that would have had them start from the very beginning. A 4-week funding extension to keep the government open and negotiate a bipartisan agreement. And yeah, that was definitely a non-starter for Republicans, and they knew it. Speaking of listening to women, let's listen to AOC just shred Chuck Schumer for what she called the tremendous mistake of working with Republicans. Watch.
Schumer, I guess the Senate Democratic leader, your senator, said at this meeting that he is going to vote for cloture. He is going to vote to allow there to be a simple majority vote. You think that's wrong?
I believe that's a tremendous mistake. Yes.
Why?
I think, well, first and foremost, the American people, if anyone has held a town hall or has seen what has been happening in town halls, American people, whether they are Republicans, independents, Democrats, are up in arms about Elon Musk and the actual gutting of federal agencies across the board. This continuing resolution codifies much of this chaos that Elon Musk is wreaking havoc on the federal government. It codifies many of those changes.
You see, they're actually calling it a tremendous mistake when all the guy did was his job, which is to work in the interest of the American people rather than their own political mind games. I mean, ridiculous, right? Now, joining Nancy Pelosi and AOC in their out-of-touch world is Democratic Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a billionaire, by the way. And he said America was founded on the concept of checks and balances, but Republicans in Congress have decided to bend their knee to Donald Trump, to Elon Musk and their cronies who seek to gut our government from the inside out. Now, with that being said, he wants Democrats to force bipartisanship and to bring the two sides together to make a budget that reflects priorities that we all ought to share. Sounds great, right? Now, you would think that that would mean him casting a vote yes on the bill that would avert a government shutdown. But nope. JB Pritzker's words, I urge a no on the continuing resolution. Unreal, guys. Unreal. Mass layoffs are sweeping the nation. The job market is collapsing. The rigged wealth transfers draining hardworking Americans. And now they're coming for your money with the looming unrealized gains tax. Meanwhile, President Trump's tariffs are being implemented, sending shockwaves throughout the economy and throughout the stock market. The system was never designed for you to win, but you don't have to play by their rules anymore. I know what it's like to feel trapped, broke, overworked, underpaid, stuck in the grind. But I found a way out, guys, and now I'm giving you the roadmap to reclaim your liberty and take back control of your life. And the good news is you don't have to face it all alone. Inside the Liberty Pursuit Network, I'm sharing exactly how to build financial freedom, escape the rat race, and live life on your own terms before it's too late. But time is running out. The window to protect yourself is closing fast. We have already received multiple warnings from the Fed that a recession is looming. So the only question now is, will you break free or will you wait until it's too late? Join the Liberty Pursuit Network now before the door slams shut. Link in the description down below. Then you got Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer himself. He announced on the Senate floor that he would support the GOP spending bill, basically seeing common sense in what Republicans want to do, which is to keep the government open and to avert a partial government shutdown. But man, sounds like he had to go through one hell of a fight with his own party just to do something as simple as that. Because word on the street is that some Senate Democrats were heard screaming while in a fierce debate with their colleagues over how to proceed on the House-passed CR. Really, they're debating whether they can hold this government shutdown as leverage for any sort of power from President Trump. But thank goodness at least some of them saw a little bit of reason, because otherwise, the government was scheduled to undergo a partial shutdown after midnight. And man, there would have been no coming back for Democrats if they let that happen. Now, honestly, I'm just so tired of our duly elected Congress acting like a bunch of high school teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, how about stopping Congress's salary until the budget's balanced? How about that? Now, that's an idea. You know that they will actually get their act together if their own personal money was affected, right? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below and hit the like button if I'm making sense to you guys. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications for more content like this. Now, one commentator who really hit the nail on the head about the Democrats is former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway. Now, basically, she pointed out how rich it is that Democrats are whining about this government spending bill when it's their reckless spending that caused an economic crisis in the first place. Here, watch.
What do you make of all this? Aren't they talking about the same Biden level of spending Democrats voted for in September and last December?
Well, it's shifted because now Donald Trump's the president, so that clouds even the most reasonable person's judgment. They look at everything through the prism of Donald Trump, who has the Democrats exactly where he wants them, Liz. If they shut down the government, Americans will believe it was the Democrats' fault, and then they're handing Trump the ability to decide which levers are operable again, what's essential and what's not. So he can go department by agency, by program, and we've seen in the last 52 days of the Trump presidency, we've seen in the last 100 days since he was elected, Liz, that the Democrats are feckless, reckless, and rudderless. And this is not a good message for them either, because I believe that where some folks on Wall Street and some folks, some of our billionaires, and certainly some of our Democratic legislators are exercising petulance, most Americans are willing to exercise patience. They believe at a macro level that President Trump will bring us to a better economy. Remember, Bidenomics was as unpopular as Biden himself. There was a reason for that, Liz. People felt like the Biden-Harris government, the Democrats, Chuck Schumer right there looking ridiculous with his avocado and his beer, looking completely ridiculous. People know that those Democrats spent money we don't have on things we didn't need, and that our prices went up. High quality, high paying jobs went down, and yet there were no tariffs. It was because of man-made policies, over government spending, ridiculous programs like climate compliance in agencies and departments that have nothing to do with climate, DEI everywhere, spending all kinds of money that people know was objectionable. They think that if you price in tariffs, Tax Cut and Jobs Act being extended, let alone expanded, obviously energy, not just production independence, but dominance, and certainly a smaller federal government footprint through DOGE. Most people recognize that over time, that economy will work more for people. I think Fetterman recognizes that. He said that this will be terrible for Americans. A shutdown would hurt the wrong people. You've got Fetterman in Pennsylvania, a state Donald Trump won. You've got Mark Kelly in Arizona, a state Donald Trump won by 6 points, saying the same thing. And he's saying they're saying it to the New York, California, Illinois set. Don't shut it down.
Now, that was some intelligent insight, invaluable even. Now, it makes me wonder why she's not a part of President Trump's administration this term. A lot of people are saying that she was amazing in his previous one. Do you guys agree? I mean, the way she summarized the Democratic Party in 3 words, feckless, reckless, and rudderless, really how else to better describe Democrats' penchant for allocating federal funds to unnecessary programs at the expense of the taxpayer, leading to rising prices and a decline in high quality, high paying jobs, right? But now things are turning around. As Conway put it, most Americans are willing to exercise patience because they believe at a macro level that President Trump will bring us to a better economy. And with the Trump administration acting like the well-oiled machine that it is, Democrats just don't know what to do with themselves anymore. I mean, just listen to this. Democratic Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is taking shots at fellow rumored 2028 presidential candidate and Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom of California. Now, like I said, guys, a snake eating its own tail. Beshear ripped into Gavin Newsom for having Steve Bannon appear on Newsom's new podcast. He said that Newsom bringing on different voices is great. We shouldn't be afraid to talk and to debate just about anyone. Then he turns it around and says that Steve Bannon exposes hatred and anger and even at some points violence. So he doesn't think that we should give him oxygen on any platform ever, anywhere. Now, let's be real here, guys. This Newsom podcast, where he invites right of center guests to discuss life and politics, critics have called it out for what it is: a thinly veiled effort to refine and bolster his personal image in the public's eye ahead of the 2028 race for the White House. I mean, I don't think it was a coincidence that both Beshear and Gavin Newsom were frequently mentioned as potential presidential candidates in the 2024 cycle after Biden's campaign started falling apart. Ultimately, both men stayed on the sidelines as former vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris took over at the top of the Democratic ticket and proceeded to lose all 7 swing states on election day. Now, from what I read, other rumored Democratic politicians eyeing up 2028 runs include failed 2024 vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, and Kamala Harris, of course. But seriously, even as early as now, many say nobody stands a chance against the Republican Party, especially with President Trump racking up so many wins for us already. In fact, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt just shared the good news that we have never been this close to peace between Russia and Ukraine. Here, watch this.
I think the president will talk to President Putin during the day.
I don't have anything on the president's schedule, but that could obviously always change. As you saw his Truth Social this morning, he is putting pressure on President Putin and the Russians to do the right thing. Yesterday was a productive day for the United States of America and for the world in terms of peace. We have never been this close to peace. You saw the NATO Secretary General in the Oval Office yesterday. You were there with us, who said that only because of President Trump are we here on the verge of brokering a peace deal.
You see what happens when you have a leader that's committed to getting things done? Now, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if most in the Democratic Party and their mainstream media allies don't want to see this end. They would rather have what they think is a talking point issue, as deranged as that is, right? You know what I mean, guys? But yeah, not on Trump's watch. Now, the U.S. is just waiting for Russia's answer on a 30-day ceasefire agreement, as President Trump's team has already gotten Ukraine to accept the deal on the condition that Moscow commits to the plan. Now, Carolyn Leavitt mentioned President Trump's Truth Social post that included a message urging the Russians to accept the U.S. ceasefire proposal. Now, according to Caroline Leavitt, the president is putting pressure on President Putin and Russians to do the right thing. She called the meeting with Ukraine a productive day for the United States of America and for the world. She even mentioned how NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte praised Trump's handling of the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, Root himself said Trump broke the deadlock, all the killing and the young people dying, cities getting destroyed. And the fact that he did that, he started a dialogue with Russians and the successful talks in Saudi Arabia, now with the Ukrainians. So Root really wanted to commend him for this. Now, again, world leaders are acknowledging the fact that we've got a real president again, and he's finally getting the job done. So drop a quick yes in the comments down below if you guys support President Trump and the work that he's doing for us. More discussions like this in our recommended videos. Make sure you guys check that out right after this one. As always, appreciate y'all hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. We'll see you next time.